Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tom Eschen. We have a developing situation right now in Flint. Miller Road shut down because of an accident. The road is closed in both directions between Lincoln Drive and Bradley Avenue. That's on the city's west side. Now, here's a live look at the scene. We're told that a van hit a telephone pole around 7:30, knocking live wires onto the street. You see the van just above the pole there on the ground, that white staff. Around 35 houses are without power because of it. Consumers Energy is working to get power restored, but right now they don't have a time frame on when that will happen. No injuries, that's the good news. The cause of the crash, though, is under investigation. We're going to talk about mental health, depression, and suicide. It's a topic that many people may be uncomfortable with, but knowing about the warning signs can save lives. There are some remarkable people in our community who are working to help change and save those lives. Many coming from the sports world, as you know. I'm familiar with that, but we're going to introduce you to some of those people in the next half hour, and that includes Bethany Wiergowski. Health officials say chickenpox spreads by touching and breathing in the virus. The chickenpox vaccine, however, typically prevents children from getting the illness in most cases. Well, right now, the Grand Blanc Police Department is warning parents of two dangerous stranger instances that happened earlier today. Officers got their first call just before noon. Three kids told police they were approached by a man inside of the Wine Barrel Party store on Perry Road. The Firebirds didn't walk out on Sunday night just for show. They put their careers on the line, bringing their jerseys up to the front office, packing their lockers completely into their bags, and walked out. The same thing their fired head coach John Gruden was doing at the time. It was something they said they thought was right and that they needed to do, and it got results. As mentioned, the players and the coaches were on the ice today for the first time
as well, with that breeze continuing overnight.
Yes, they're going to need to bundle up a little bit tonight, aren't they?
Absolutely. Grab as many warm clothes as you can. Layer up this evening.
Yeah, I was out at some football games earlier tonight, and I know it was getting chilly really fast. That temperature drop happened really quickly tonight, didn't it?
It did. We had that cold front coming through, and it just dropped those temperatures off almost immediately.
All right, we'll have more from Nick later on in the program. Thank you, Nick. Moving on now, Michigan officials are asking a federal judge to stop his order for bottled water deliveries to lead-tainted homes in Flint. As you mentioned in the piece, you went to Thailand. You know,
yes.
How was Thailand for you? What was that experience like?
Thailand was life-changing, definitely.
Tom, how's it going out there? You look very cold.
Well, Dora, it's snowing very hard. I was saying as I came in today, as we were driving to this spot on Onondaga Lake Parkway, it is some of the worst conditions I have ever seen. And I've lived in Syracuse for over 20 years, Dora. I mean, the blowing and the low visibility, you can't see the lines on the roads at this point. The plows have been here on Onondaga Lake Parkway about every 15, 20 minutes or so. So they're trying to keep up, but at this point, it's been really difficult.
I saw Eric Hipple earlier in the program here, and you both have been with Eric and experienced him in the past. He's actually going to speak with you guys coming up here. We'll talk about that in a moment. You saw him in the classroom with those kids. It was such a cool conversation. I think it's a pretty rare one to have. What did you guys take away from that?
Well, I think it's just the idea of even men can struggle with, depression or suicide.
College students are trading in those dorm rooms, mini fridge microwaves, and residence directors too, and sleeping on the street tonight. They're bringing attention to the homeless problem in this region. The event is called Cardboard City and being put on by students who are part of the Saginaw-Shiawassee chapter of Habitat for Humanity. More than a dozen students traded in the comforts of heat and running water for those boxes you see right there. Well, Flint Township is closer to not being Flint Township anymore. They're moving forward with the proposal to change its name. The committee in charge of making that happen met this evening. Fox 66's Kelly Taylor shows us if we're any closer to the decision. And those are just a couple pieces of what is a very powerful film. There's so much more to it than that. They've won 3 out of 4 state titles since then. Cammie and Michael, my first question is you. Just what inspired you to make this documentary, guys?
We have friends and family that deal with depression.
Well, next on Fox 66 News at 10, we look into President-elect Donald Trump's 100-day plan to bring back jobs to America and how likely his big promises will become reality.
You need to know it's a real problem. Statistics prove it. Put that phone away.
You heard it there. Put the phone away. AAA has a message for those who are on their phone while behind the wheel. Straight ahead, we take a look at some hard numbers on traffic deaths involved distracted driving. Coming up later, the U.S. has suffered lots of cyber attacks in recent years. Tonight, we talk about one threat that is often overlooked. 15-year-old Jeffrey Hipple took his own life on April 9th, the year 2000. The shock sent his father Eric and his younger sister Tara into battles with their own depression. We sat down with Eric and Tara to look back on that time and talk about what they've done since then to recover and rebuild their lives.
Well, you know, back right after Jeff's death.
Bendel's Barack Hernandez is proof that you can have plenty of interest in life, but that truly following your passion can lead to finding yourself along the way. And as you're about to see, quite a bit going on here. He really does it all. It might be the off season, but Bendel Tigers kicker Barack Hernandez is hard at work, getting his kicks in as part of KC Lopata's weekly kicking camp. But in between that, he's powerlifting. He's a state qualifier his sophomore year, hoping for states later on next year. But this time of year, he's not only perfecting his craft on the field, but off of it too. Driven by his love to paint, he's created his own business, Barack's Boards.
Spot right here helps to support it, make sure it goes through. I only need 5 in total of the long ones. Okay. So now to line those up. Make sure it doesn't come across the table. As you can kind of see, I had a little bit of a hard time with that before. And smooth strokes, and to make grass, you just got to do like little strokes here and there. Up here, you just sand the background so it looks even.
And there's your finished product, which he sells online and at craft shows. And he does all of that because of this right here. It's an animal, it's a bearded dragon named Draco, right, draped on my arm, which is a little interesting for me, but this is no stranger for him, as he loves everything having to do with animals, as now he's raising money to go to Thailand to study elephants. When he was 3 years old, he went to the vet and he told his mom he wanted to be an animal doctor. Jack Hanna is his hero. A road that he knows starts, well, at the bottom.
I want to be like shoveling the poop and stuff.
Right.
And,
not many people say that.
Yeah.
In the midst of volunteering at several zoos, including the Wilds and his favorite Columbus Zoo, that love has grown.
One of the best times of my life so far, I saw a wild toucan. I don't know why, but that's just one of the things that made me super happy. I saw a wild toucan. Don't know, maybe it was seeing like the Fruit Loops box all the time or something.
He's made a connection with those animals, like this baby rhino who he's seen on more than one occasion at the Wilds.
Right here, here's the baby, and that's him kind of suckling on my arm and getting my shirt all wet.
And during those excursions, which includes a trip to Costa Rica last year, he's made a connection with people that are like him, too.
It was really eye-opening when I started volunteering at zoos, because in my school, I'm the only one interested in that, and I'm the only one that's really going for that. Mm-hmm. So it was just kind of like, felt alone, you know? But then when I started going out and meeting all these other people that have the same goals and they're driven and they have the same aspirations as I do, it was really like reassuring that be yourself, because there are people like you out there, and those are the people that are going to matter in your life.
From kicking to his powerlifting career, to pet Draco, to the elephants in Thailand, to the decorative boards he makes, Barack lives his passions every day, paving his path to greatness.
Over the span of 4 decades as a local official, Steve Johnson has officiated thousands of football, basketball, and baseball games here in mid-Michigan. Well, this summer, Johnson went from referee to competitor, not in a sport, but in a battle for his life. Here's Fox 66 sports director Tom Eschen.
You've probably heard Steve Johnson's whistle, or maybe you thought his strike zone was a little too wide. Maybe you played in a game he refed in. Maybe your child did. Maybe even your grandchild did. But it's hard to miss his energy on the field, and even in his own backyard.
And then we come back up here, and then we have 4 holes, and we try to make 9 out of it.
Johnson started his homemade disc golf course last spring, constructing almost 4 holes by the month of June. Before he could finish the final hole, his life changed forever.
When she looked at that x-ray, she came out to me, and she just says, do you have a will? You know, and at that particular time, you know, my heart sunk. It just felt like somebody hit me with a sledgehammer about that time.
Diagnosed with small cell lung cancer, Johnson was given 2 months to live.
I started praying, you know, and basically the number one thing was, hey, you know, God, give me something that I can fight here.
A friend arranged a one-on-one meeting with well-known faith healer Dr. Issam Naimi out of Ohio. The night before he was supposed to meet him, Dr. Namey asked for a picture of Johnson.
About the time that picture was reaching Dr. Namey, okay, I felt this warm water running in my chest, okay? And I had a royal blue shirt on. Yeah. And all of a sudden my son goes, are you okay, Dad? You know, I looked over and he goes, man, you're sweating. You know, well, like I said, I was only sweating across here. Right. And that was it. Rest of me was dry. Yeah. But I felt that pulsation coming from my chest, like it was not waves coming in, it was waves going out. Right. You know, and I looked at my wife, Terry, and I says, I think cancer just kind of like left my body.
A new diagnosis came in. Stage 4 diffuse large cell lymphoma. Still grim, but now a glimmer of hope. The chemotherapy took its toll. He was down to 114 pounds. But he kept fighting. He started gaining weight, and in September, back up to 140, and 3 months after his initial diagnosis, where they had asked if he had a will, now the cancer gone.
For me to hear those words, like, you know, after coming back from the PET scan saying, man, you're in full remission. You know, and I looked at the doctor and I goes, oh, come on, man. And he goes, no, Steve, he goes, we don't mess with stuff like that.
And 4 months later, the final piece of his disc golf course is complete.
All I had to do was put this one little piece of zip tie on here to finish it. But it took me 4 months to finish it.
Wow. Yeah. Later on tonight in sports, we're going to have more on what the local referees are doing to kind of help him out as he continues treatment. He had chemotherapy on Monday. Still has another treatment on October 31st, Halloween. That could be his last one, Bill.
Tell with the viewers the story you told us when you walked in the studio when you were going up to do the interview.
I mean, you always expect when you go to these things, you don't know how he's going to be considering how grim his condition was. He came right out to the car. He was running out there, and it seems like he had the energy that he's had before he was in that hospital bed. As you saw, it was pretty remarkable to see the energy he has after all that struggle these past few months.
Uplifting story.
Well, the call came in just after 8 o'clock this evening here in Tully. Some workers from the Burger King noticed the fire that happened near the kitchen or a storage room toward the back of the building here. And when fire crews got on the scene, they found the back and the roof of the building heavily engulfed in flames. You can see by these steps that the house is still in a good amount of disrepair, but if they raise enough money to $8,000 and probably more to fix it up, they're going to turn it into the foundation itself, meaning they'll put a gallery and exhibits, and there are things for kids to use, something where people in the community can appreciate what Frank Baum brought to this community. Yes, that's me in the blue shirt with the number 2 on the back, jumping in the 30-degree water with the Baldwinsville Chamber of Commerce Group and apparently Captain America. The simple advice is don't try this at home, but it's for a great cause, so everyone had a good time today. So reporting from inside the Seneca River in Baldwinsville, I'm Tom Eschen, and I'm going to go take a shower.
Now, during the interview, the tension kind of broke as we each smelled something burning, only to find that Sydney had pressed this pillow against the gas fireplace here, melting it. As you can see, she did a number on this pillow, pretty much destroying it. Just an example of how Sydney brings some humor into their lives and a little bit of entertainment as well.
Priceless. It's priceless. She's priceless.
So with gas prices being so high, Clark Reservation is really a convenient place to go for many Central New Yorkers. But it's these beautiful trails, the views of Glacier Lake, and the breaths of fresh air that keep coming to you as you go on these trails out here that keep people coming back year after year.